Hi! Finally, it's time to start our second section where we are gonna learn about ActiveRecord querying. But first of all, we'll need to do some setup for our product, so this way our experience while querying is gonna be greater. So I decided to bring to you a different format to this lesson. As you know, our focus here is learn how to query and not to how to set up a Rails project. So I created this file, a step-by-step file, and it'll be available for you to download, and I will copy and paste its content. And another thing is that I wrote some comments in the code for help you if you don't know what I'm doing, right? I created a setup project branch and it'll be available for you too. Well, the first thing we need to do is to add some gems to the groups development and test of our gem file. So going to gem file, we have our group development and test environments. So here I will add these gems. If you don't know some gem that I add, so read the comments, and if you want to learn more about some gem here, please go to the gem repository and get its docs, right? So let's run bundle install. Right, so it is installed. Right, the second step is generate our AirSpec installation. So let's run Rails generate AirSpec install. So as you can see, this generator created some config files to AirSpec. Now we can delete the folder test. So it's pretty easy, just delete the directory. Sure. So the next step is to add this config to FactoryBot in our Rails helper in the spec folder. So we have the spec folder here, so Rails helper, and just add it to the block rspec.configure, right? It's pretty easy. Alright, our FactoryBot is configured, so now we have to create a folder factories in the directory spec and create some files here, one for user, one for company, and another for transfer. So let's do it. In the spec folder, I will create a new folder called factories, and I must create a user.ruby and a company.ruby, and finally a transfer.ruby, right? And as you can see here, we have some amount of code. I created some comments for you also in these files, so please read the comments, and if you don't get it, please go to the forums and ask me your questions, right? So we have a Robocop pending here, so alright. It is not required, but you can do it in your code too. And let me write, and here too, and here too. Sorry about that. So let's continue. Now we are gonna add some content for our company.ruby, and we have a factory for company and some amount of fake data for some company, right? So let's do it for our transfer.ruby too. And as you can see, when we declare a belongs to, as you know, we have a user ID in transfers, but as you can see, passing just a user, it will create an user if you don't specify some existent user for the factor, right? So the same for company here. I really recommend you to go to FactoryBot docs and learn about it if you don't know FactoryBot, right? It's very common. It's a very common gem in every Rails project you will see, right? So now we have to create a initializer for awesome print. So let's go to our config initializers and create a new file, awesomeprint.ruby. And this file is just some amount of configs to awesome print, but it's very default configs. If you want to get some fun configuring as you want, you are able to it. Sorry. So finally, let's add some content in our db seeds.ruby, and the setup is almost done. Now let's go to db folder seeds and add some content here. So here we are creating users with random data using FactoryBot. So when we have a FactoryBot.create user, we are creating a user in the database using this factory user, right? And same for company, and the create list method generates how many records you specify in the second param. So here we are creating a list of transfer with 3 transfers for user 1 with company 2, and here the same thing to another user and another company, right? So finally we have to run Rails DB reset. So I discovered that this command also runs DB seeds for us. So running Rails DB reset is the same of Rails DB drop, DB create, DB migrate, and DB seed, right? So Rails DB reset, and great. So now if we run Rails console, if I do a user.all, you see a normal relation, ActiveRecord relation. But if I type ap from awesomeprint user.all, you can see a better viewing of our records, right? So that is it. I will push these changes for the GitHub repository for this project. I see you in the next lesson. Bye.